All right. So I've already had too much to drink tonight,
Sounds
but
like it.
thank you. Thank you, Wise Mac. But this is the triple coincidence of wants and the reality of spread trading. And that is that money exists solely as a function of the double coincidence of wants, which is where two people have assets that they would like to exchange, but there is no medium of purchase. And that is where the invention of money comes in. And if a chicken farmer and a baker, which is an incredibly common exchange involved within the double coincidence of wants, meet, and the baker decides that he needs eggs to bake his bread, and that the chicken farmer needs to provide food for the table for their family, want to have an exchange, they either A, need to negotiate on the primary level, which is uh, involving the direct exchange for eggs and bread, which is terribly awful for both parties involved because they exchange a solid medium of which there is very low liquidity. Um, some people do not eat eggs and some people do not eat bread, and therefore those assets are not totally viable within a broader market. So the invention of money is centered around uh, the double coincidence of wants, which is where two people want something, but they want to exchange value in a way that is focused primarily on the value of those two things and not actually exchanging raw materials or uh, valuable assets for those. And money does solve the problem of the double coincidence of wants, but all derivatives give rise to a further derivative in an exception of a linear regression, but a linear regression does devolve down into an incredibly flat line, which no one appreciates at all because it's flat. Um, that being said, um, money has a derivative in that exchange in that it involves a mediary which profits off the time value of money, where someone holds the money that each of those people would like to exchange, and in the meantime that they exchange those values, um, they profit off of the interest or uh, expectation. And interest in money is actually it's so beautiful that it's called interest because it is literally other people's expectation of value from money in the meantime off of money that you hold. So, uh, interest is such an apt name because when a bank pays you interest, it is because they are interested in your deposit. When you pay interest on a loan, it is because the bank is interested in how you have generated value derived from the loan that they provided you. And they intend to make a spread off of that. And that is why high interest loans are bad because it is very rare that you will receive an interest on the. Ooh, so much drinking. It is very rare that you have derived a profitable exchange from the interest on a high interest loan, like something like a credit card, where the company essentially provides um, liquidity in the short term, but you provide them profit in the long term because of your inability to generate value off of the money they have provided. Um, Stepping out of this example and into something more concrete, there's a bunch of orders on your screen for some of my current trades. And yes, they are small because I keep my speculative trading accounts small on purpose to make sure that I don't lose the kitty and the Kelly criterion is satisfied in an assortment of bets. But um, the primary exchange is eggs for bread. The secondary derivative of eggs for bread. The first derivative of eggs for bread is money, wherein an intermediary, such as the government or a bank, provides liquidity for the two parties to exchange value. And the third derivative is you as an individual who can provide liquidity for other people. Spread trading is about making money off of other people's wants of their wants. So on the left-hand example, there's a stock that is trading at a given price, and uh, I have agreed to sell it at a higher price than is reasonable and buy it at a lower price than is reasonable. And I have become an intermediary between two people who want to exchange money for a given asset. And because they want to exchange money, they are providing a surplus of value. So the bottom layer would be the stock. The second layer would be the two people. Oh, you're fine. The second layer would be the two people who cannot agree on the correct price of the underlying. And then the third layer would be myself, wherein I want to negotiate a fair price of insurance between those two people. Spread trading is an insurance business where you can and will realize a loss on the realized potential of a certain outcome where an underlying asset is no longer worth what it used to be. This is literally what life insurance is, where the primary asset is the value of someone's life. The secondary asset is the money involved within what that person is worth. So a person will pay money to insure their death up to a given amount, and then the insurance company will agree on the amount that they're willing to pay out in relation to the amount of money that a person is giving them. And then the third derivative of that is that insurance companies will invest the money in the short term in order to ensure that they never run a negative and they are always willing to profit. And they are essentially a life insurance company is spread trading the life of the people that they are insuring. So, insurance companies are third coincidence wants businesses where they ensure that the investments they are putting their money into are liquid and profitable, such that when it comes time to pay the second derivative money, that the first derivative has been entirely covered. And it is such a difficult concept to imagine concretely, but it's not that hard if you think about it in simple terms. Um, you have a friend that has a car. You also have a friend that has a bunch of computer parts, right? And each of them wants the other thing. So they are willing to exchange money in order for the other thing, right? But they don't know each other, right? So they come to you and they say, hey, do you know anyone that needs a car? Hey, do you know anyone that needs computer parts? And then you link those two things together and you're able to profit off of that because they say, hey, I'll give you $100 if you know someone who needs a car. I'll pay you $100 for the sale. And then you talk to the guy who's selling computer parts and he says, well, this is a successful business. I'm going to need $20 for the fact that like I'm so busy that I really don't have time to talk to people unless they're willing to do business with me. So in that instance, you will profit $80 and you are a third derivative of a primary transaction where in first the assets are concrete, second they're valued by a broader market, and third you exist to provide liquidity. And that is all spread trading is. That is all it is. These every single spread trade that I've ever seen put on is a third derivative of what people believe is a fair exchange for two separate assets that they believe are real, functional, and sometimes profitable, otherwise meaningful for life. And that's all I have. And I literally cannot go to sleep until I rant. It's 3:16 in the morning for me.
Yeah, I think it's about the same. Oh no, it's a little before. It's 2:13.
I can't sleep unless I like rant about stuff at the computer, but that's fine.
So, from what I was picking up, which was a little, the attention was split about halfway through that because
You're
I
fine. You're
got out
playing
of it.
video games, dog.
No, I got out of it and I sat down and listened. Um, it's essentially just going over the concept of how trading works is what I'm picking up. Of like somebody's just managing assets between two different people. That's all you're doing. Am I wrong? Am I off?
I'm thinking, and it's not going very well.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, right. But it's not about just managing the assets, right? I think that it's about managing risk over the course of the lifetime of the agreement, right? So when you pay an insurance policy, okay, like let's say it's on your car, okay? So you buy a car. Let's say it's a $900 Cadillac that you want to go tour the country in, right? But you have to have a minimum insurance on it. So you're paying $25 a month to an insurance company, okay? And they've risk adjusted your age and the value of the car and everything involved with that. And they quote you $25 and you agree to pay that, right?
Yeah.
The first derivative is that you and the company agree that the value of the car is worth anything at all, right? The value of transportation, period, is the first agreement. You and some person that you don't know have agreed like the value of movement is intangible and it will help produce value for you in the future. So, like, the value that a car strictly used for road tripping like that is the experience that you would gain off of the car itself, right? So, you have agreed with the insurance company at a fundamental level that the value of an experience is worth something to each of you. You saying that the value of the experience is worth more to you than the insurance premium, and that they are saying that they understand that and that they are willing to provide a limit to how much you would pay in the event of an accident, right?
Mm.
The intermediary of that is the US government, wherein they provide the means that you would exchange that value, right? So you and the insurance company have agreed that the car is worth value more than what it is. Also, the US government has stepped in and said, you two would like to do business, and therefore we are willing to provide you this certificate of value that you two can easily exchange upon, wherein Wismec is not sending the insurance company a pound of beef every month in order to ensure that the car still has value. You know what I mean? Why Wismec's not cooking banana bread every single month for the insurance company and
No, that'd be annoying.
and sending it to them. So instead of banana bread, someone has stepped in and said, hey, we're willing to provide this value, and in exchange for that value, we make sure that the value that we provide becomes less and less over time so that you pay us more and more over time, right? And then the third derivative of that is that there are a group of people who say, hey, while our good friend Wismec is out driving that car and giving you money every month, instead of just letting that money pile up and do nothing, wouldn't you like to buy this phenomenal company that makes 8% a month or 8% a year instead? That way, the money he's giving you grows. And when, of course, he eventually crashes it because he's such a good driver, he and you pay him out for his loss that he has experienced. Um, you make money on his deposits in the meantime, right?
Hmm.
And when people are doing spread trading in the stock market, it's a very similar thing. Hey, this is a certificate that denominates value for a company's current and future cash flows, right? That's what a stock is it lays claim to a company's current, so whatever they're making right now, and future cash flows. So that if their future cash flows grow, your ability to earn grows with it, right?
Hmm.
And then the second derivative of that is that people will agree, like, well, I don't want to lose everything, so I'm going to go ahead and sell you the right. I'm going to go ahead and sell you the right to buy everything I own in this company for a given amount. And those are happening all the time, right?
Yeah.
And they are valued incredibly differently for the amounts that they are provided. So, an amount at 100 might have a price of $100, but an amount at 90 might have a price at $80, right? Where it's like, well, I don't think this stock that I own is ever going to go below 90. So, I will give you the right to buy it from me at 90, but you don't think it's worth $100, so you can go ahead and pay me 80. And the spread on the $100 right to buy the stock and the spread on the $100 right to buy the stock at 90, or the spread on the $100 right to buy the stock at 100 and the spread on the $80 90 on the $80 stock to buy at 90, that $20 difference is what creates the third derivative, which is you, where you make $20 creating a deal where you can buy one person's stock at 90 and sell it at 100. And of course, I just messed that example up in talking, but let's say that the stock is $1,000 and you know that it's not ever going to go below $1,000, but people are so worried and they're going to pay $1,000 to make sure that it never goes below 1,000. But there's some dude who's worried it's going to go below 90 and he's willing to sell you everything for $90. If you buy the ability to purchase from one guy at 90 and sell at 1,000, you can make $100 spread and essentially like profit on the exchange of two people who don't know each other, right? The entirety of trading in the stock market that isn't raw stock is sideline bets. And the sideline bets come in where one person thinks one thing, another person thinks another thing, and you're in the middle making money off of the two people not exactly knowing what's going on. I don't know if that makes any sense, right? But
I get it. You're the third person who's watching both scenarios and making a buck out of whatever the choices the people make.
pretty much. And like, there are situations where you could lose money, right? But you could have such a series of bets going on that no matter the outcome of like the broader decisions of the group, you were able to make money. And highly unlikely outcomes are very cheap, right? So highly likely outcomes are expensive. So it's like saying, "Hey, I think Brazil's going to win the World Cup." You know,
Yeah.
you would not make very much money on that bet. You know what I mean? Like everyone would be like, "Okay, I'll take your bet," but like everyone thinks that anyway. So I'm not going to give you a good amount of return on that. But if you make that bet and then keep a smaller bet on the side and go to a different person and say, "Hey, I think America's going to win the World Cup," you know, and it's like soccer. No one pays attention to soccer in this country. That person would give you a very good like return because you're making a crazy, crazy, crazy bet. You know what I mean? And so you can structure a series of bets that no matter what happens, it pays out very, 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 very well in the short term. And um, I just could not go to sleep because I was thinking up about the third coincidence of wants, where it's like two people want to exchange a thing. They need someone to appraise the value of those two things. And then the third coincidence of wants is an individual that can recognize that there's a discrepancy in the value of two things and make money off of that in the meantime. Because the third want is money that is derived from linking the two people together.
Money from the service rather than money directly attached to the direct value of the object.
Oh my god, you get it. You get it. Okay, so like I've explained it somewhat clearly enough that you totally get it, right? It's money from the service. It's not money from the thing. It's not money itself, right? Like like the thing itself has a value, and then it has a value attached, right? But the service of linking two outcomes together has a value in and of itself. I'm
Yeah.
thank you so much. That's perfect. Like I appreciate that so much, big dog.
You're good. I gotta use the bathroom though, so I'll be right back.
That's it. That's the end. I appreciate that so much.